Weimar Germany. After Kaiser Wilhelm abdicated as Kaiser in 1918, Germany was left without a leader. Friedrich Ebert declared that he was in control of Germany because he was leader of the Social Democrat Party, which was the biggest party in the Reichstag, the German parliament building. The day afterwards, Ebert signed the armistice with the Allies and ended the First World War. Germany was in chaos though. There were food shortages, huge numbers of jobless, and a flu epidemic killing thousands. And other political groups were willing to try and take control of Germany too. The birth of the Weimar Constitution. In January 1919, Germany held free elections for the first time, and Ebert's party gained the majority of votes, so he became the first president of Germany, and remained so until his death in 1925. The government met in the town of Weimar, just outside Berlin, because Berlin was too unsafe. The first revolts also came in January 1919, when the Spartakists, a group of German communists, renamed themselves to be the German Communist Party and tried to take control of Berlin through armed revolt. Ebert managed to defeat the revolt using the Freikorps, who were ex-World War I soldiers that were yet to get a job. The leaders of the Spartakists, Karl Liebknecht and Rosa Luxemburg, were both executed. In May 1919, a communist revolt broke out in Bavaria, but this was also put down by the Freikorps. Ebert was ruthless towards the communists, killing 600. The Treaty of Versailles. In June 1919, Germany had to accept the Treaty of Versailles, in which Germany lost 10% of its land and was blamed for the war in Article 231. Germany was outraged, and since Ebert signed it, more opponents to him arose. The Kapp Putsch, 1920. In March 1920, Dr. Wolfgang Kapp led the Freikorps in a rebellion in Berlin. This was known as a putsch. He was a right-wing politician who wanted to restore the position of Kaiser. Ebert ordered the army to put the rebellion down, but the army and the police both refused to attack their fellow soldiers. Ebert appealed to the German people, asking them to go on strike, which they did, and the putsch collapsed from a lack of coal, water and electricity. Kapp fled abroad. The Ruhr Crisis, 1922. In 1921, the Germans had to pay the first instalment of reparations of £50 million. However, in 1922 they said they could not afford the second payment. In response, French and Belgian troops entered the Ruhr, an industrial area of Germany, to take the goods for themselves. This was quite legal under the Treaty of Versailles. Ebert ordered the workers in the Ruhr to go on strike, which they did, but it was disastrous for Germany. In retaliation, the French shot 152 men and deported 100,000, bringing in their own workers to get the factories going. This had a terrible effect on the German economy. Hyperinflation, 1923. Because of the Ruhr crisis, German money started to lose its value in the first German economic depression. To pay its debts, the government printed more money, but this meant money proved to be worth less and less. A loaf of bread which cost 0.63 marks in 1918 eventually cost 201 billion marks in November 1923. In 1921, £1 was worth 500 marks. By November 1923, it was worth 14 trillion marks. It was great for people with loans and mortgages because they could pay off their debts easily, but poor people and those on fixed incomes like pensioners found their savings and salaries were worthless. The Munich Putsch. Also in November 1923, Adolf Hitler felt it was time for the Nazis to take over Bavaria in the Munich Putsch, but failed to do so when von Kahr, leader of the Bavarian government, and the people of Munich did not turn out to support him. He was arrested and put on trial, sentenced to 5 years in Landsberg Castle prison, but only served 9 months. During this time, he wrote Mein Kampf. Stresemann, Germany's saviour. In August 1923, the German people elected Stresemann to be their chancellor. He called off the strikes in the Ruhr to get the German economy going again. But this was unpopular with Germans, and Stresemann became less popular and lost chancellorship. However, it worked. He also recalled all the worthless marks and replaced them with the new Rentenmark. Stresemann's achievements. As well as fixing hyperinflation, he borrowed 800 million marks from America as part of the Dawes Plan to help rebuild Germany's economy. He also renegotiated the amount Germany had to pay the Allies as part of the Young Plan, reducing reparations to £2 billion. He signed the Locarno Pact with France and Belgium, agreeing never to change their borders, and he also signed the Kellogg-Briand Pact with 65 other countries, agreeing never to go to war again. As a result, in 1926, Germany was allowed into the League of Nations and treated as an equal. Culture. There was a big increase in cabaret, cinema attendance and film production, and the new Bauhaus design style became popular. But many people in towns and villages, like Van der Vogel, thought that there was a moral decline owing to Jewish and American immigration. Politics. Between 1923 and 1929, Germany was a settled country and extremist parties lost their popularity. That didn't stop both the Nazis and Communists reorganizing themselves and trying to gain support. The Nazis, particularly, used Joseph Goebbels to issue lots of propaganda. Disaster. Stresemann had settled German society until his death in 1929. The Wall Street crash in October and November brought disaster to the German economy because of the loans through the Dawes Plan, and this resulted in the Second Economic Depression, the rise of the Nazis, and the end of Weimar Germany.